Always remember, the truth is the truth, whether you believe it or not. The lie needs your permission and participation to even exist. And the only one place that a lie can exist is in the minds of those who are foolish enough to believe it. You're in the 7 Club.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Moma Bear Talk. I'm your host, Kimberly Rikes.
And I'm Michelle Lindell, and we have 7 Club back with us again tonight to talk about Project Bluebeam. How have you been?
I've been good. How you guys been?
Great. You guys get your foil hats on. That'd be great.
Good to be here again. I like this topic. I like brainstorming it and thinking about, the possibilities of what they could do with this and everything. So thanks for having me once again. It's good to be here.
So can you tell everybody what a little bit about Project Bluebeam and what it is in case somebody doesn't know what we're talking about yet?
Yeah. So Project Bluebeam is a technology where they're able to project realistic holograms in the sky or, around Earth and stuff to give the illusion that you're looking at. Well, some people theorize they could fake Jesus's return with it. They could fake an alien invasion with it, put saucers and stuff up there. But we've had little bits of evidence of them possibly testing it out. There's been people that are like filming and they see a bird that's just, it looked like it was flying at one point, but it just freezes in the air and it's just stuck there, suspended. Planes, there's been people filming airplanes where they're just sitting there in the sky and they're like, what is this? So there's already little things kind of floating around the internet that say, maybe they're testing Bluebeam, with this. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of theories around it. But what I think they're going to do with it is stage an alien invasion at some point to try to, bring that global control, that global unity, they'll say. Because there's been a few presidents in history say nothing would bring the whole world together like a threat from outside of it, a good old extraterrestrial threat. So I think Reagan said it and Bush Sr. possibly.
Yep. And I remember seeing some things like they did the hologram things out in Seattle by one of the, I don't know what the monument thing is called, the stratosphere thing or whatever it is. That's out there, but they had a hologram out there and it was just like the robots walking on the sky, and everybody knew it was a hologram, but like for something like that to even exist is like mind blowing. Like, yeah.
It's wild.
You can't tell some of those things that's not a real like thing in the sky. Like you said, like with the birds and with the planes, some people call it, it's a glitch in the matrix. So that everything's bigger in the matrix. So you can call it whatever you want, but it ain't right because it's coming from the government for one.
Yeah.
God forbid we have something from the government come good. And so yeah, let's dig into what you know and what you found out, because this is interesting.
Okay, yeah, and anybody who's unfamiliar with where holographic technology is today, go look it up. Like they said, they've put stuff in the sky. They got whales floating around in the sky in some projects that they've been doing to kind of show off. So we know the technology's there, right? So we know it's there, and it's it was a conspiracy for the longest time. Those of us who were like, oh, look out, you know, Project Bluebeam, and people's like, oh, and then now they're showing us already. They're like, well, we have the technology now. So I got curious to see what ChatGPT, you know, ChatGPT is an AI, it's a language model. It kind of rides the narrative. Basically, it works for the government. I mean, if we're being honest, but it's basically a supercomputer full of data, right? So it's got all this information. So I asked it a few things and a few hypotheticals, but I found it'd be really interesting for us and your viewers to listen to and see what it says. And it kind of goes toward Bluebeam. So if you want me to pull it up.
Yep, go ahead. Unfortunately, his audio won't work, so he'll have to read what it typed it up and said what it was. So if you go to his channel on TikTok and stuff like that, he has stuff like this on there that you can hear it for itself saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I tried sharing just the window. Let's see if you guys can hear it this time. No, still?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So I asked ChatGPT first. I said, what all virtual reality companies has NASA invested in? So it goes and says, well, NASA has invested in several virtual reality companies and projects to enhance space exploration and astronaut training. One prominent example is Felix and Paul Studios, a Montreal-based company. They're NASA approved to film ultra high definition 360-degree virtual reality content aboard the International Space Station. Their immersive production, Space Explorers, the ISS experience, was filmed with the help of astronauts, offering a public unique view of life in space. The company collaborates with NASA and other space agencies for such projects, aiming to use virtual reality to bring space exploration closer to audiences on Earth. Additionally, NASA has worked with other virtual reality companies and startups through its Small Businesses and Innovations Research program. This includes efforts to develop virtual training environments for astronauts and enhanced data visualization tools for mission planning. So I wanted to ask it that to kind of get it on the
that track.
Yeah, get it on that track of like, okay, we're talking about cool technologies that NASA might have. All right. So then I ask, has NASA invested in any hologram companies, or are they doing any works with holographic imaging? So then it says NASA has been involved in various holographic imaging projects, partially focusing on medical and astrobiological applications. For example, NASA has explored the use of holographic imaging in detecting microbial life on other planets. This technique is known as digital holographic microscopy. It captures 3D images using laser lights, which could potentially help in identifying life, extraterrestrial environments, and so on. Then it says, in the medical field, which I didn't know NASA was in the medical field, but it says NASA has been working with holographic technology to improve healthcare for astronauts. They have collaborated on 3D holographic imaging tools for medical interventions, such as Real View Imaging, Holoscope Eye System, which allows for real-time holographic visualizations of organs during procedures.
What the? So they're going to practice on like working with real? Oh my God, this is crazy.
I don't get it. I was like, what? So then it says the project shows NASA commitment to advancing holography for both space exploration and medical applications.
Okay.
Wow.
So, I know, right? So then I ask, with this type of technology, it's possible to project holograms, which it pretty much already admitted. But then it says, yes, with current holographic technology, it's possible to project real-time 3D holograms. The system in Real View Imaging, it just tells you about that organ thing again.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say they're also using similar holographic projection techniques like digital holographic microscopy, which captures and projects 3D images. So then now that I got it talking about how cool this holographic technology is, so then I ask, all right, so hypothetically, could this technology be incorporated with satellites to make really cool space displays and neat sci-fi space art? Because I don't want to be like, you know,
Yeah, you're asking the wrong question. Somebody's gonna be coming knocking at your door.
yeah. So it goes, all right, hypothetically, holographic technology could be incorporated with satellites to create visual displays or even large-scale space art. Satellites equipped with holographic projectors could potentially generate 3D projections in space, while the technology currently focuses on the medical and scientific uses such as real-view imaging. NASA's digital holographic microscopy, extended to create artistic or visual displays in space, could be feasible in these advancements. So it talks about the challenges right now. So it's like, well, the main challenges would be the projecting the light in a vacuum. Now, those of you who know me know I don't believe in the vacuum of space, so to speak. I believe in more the ancient Earth, the biblical depictions, the firmament, the waters above, and all that.
Easily project off of that.
Yeah. So then it's like, it's talking about, with future breakthroughs, maybe it'd be possible to project big, huge holographic displays, and it would be visible from Earth or in orbit, they say. So then I wanted to kind of lean another direction. I was like, okay, so have you heard of electrogravitic propulsion and anti-gravity technology using electrostatics and electromagnetism?
That is way beyond my
So
what the heck that even is.
Okay, so basically what it is would be a UFO. So a man-made UFO though. So basically it's be the same as asking, have you heard of government UFOs? So then it goes on to say, yeah, we do. It's like they talk about electrogravitic propulsion. It says, except we've been working on this stuff since the 20th century, early 20th century, since the 50s, it says. And the guys viewers can pause and read.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. But then it talks about military interests. It says, military interests in the 1950s, reports surfaced that major aerospace companies such as Lockheed Martin and Boeing, which is who make our commercial airplanes, were researching electrogravitics, basically anti-gravity UFOs, often fueled by speculation around classified programs like those associated with the UFOs. The alleged Project Winterhaven was one such initiative. However, no conclusive evidence of practical anti-gravity technology has emerged from these claims. It says, while mainstream science has not yet validated this technology, the electrogravitic propulsion, as a viable technology, alternative science circles and speculates engineering models, continuing to explore the possibilities. But see, I have a patent right here. I don't know if I can share it, but it's wait, do you see my screen still?
Yeah, we sure do. Yep.
Do you see the spaceship?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a patent right here. It's the triangular spacecraft, and this
Isn't
was
that similar to the B-2 bomber?
Yeah, it's a lot like it. It's a lot like
You want to know something?
yeah, the TRB-3 or whatever it is. But guess what? How this flies? It uses that same technology that we were talking about. The same electrostatic. This is it.
Wow.
Right here. UFO. Military UFO. So then I'm like, okay. So
it's like when you said triangular stuff or whatever, I'm like, the only aircraft that I can think of that is like that is the B-2 bomber. And the only reason I know that is because my dad worked on that. He was the head mechanic on that. And I remember him saying that when they were drilling into it, they would have to catch the filings because they could not throw the filings away. They would actually have to catch them and put them discreetly somewhere else. There was no sweeping the floor after this was done and just throwing it in the regular trash. And I'm like,
because it was made out of such expensive material, probably, right?
I think it was that, and then like the technology of how it can be not traced on radar. Is that
Oh,
what the thing B-2 bombers can do? They're almost intraceable via radar. So that was the newest technology back, and this was probably back in the early or late 80s, early 90s. And I mean, we lived in Texas at the time, and that's where he worked at. And I'm like, this is so cool.
that is cool. So did your dad work for Boeing?
He worked for a company called LTV, and it was out of like the Dallas Fort Worth area. And I remember like because my dad was he went to the military he was in Air Force, and he was the mechanic and all that, and he went on to mechanics, and he worked there probably, I would say, a good 10 years. And
92% of people who have tingling or numbness in hands or feet are missing the warning signs of decaying nerves. An urgent message to anyone who suffers with tingling and numbness in their feet and hands. This discovery can finish the anguish for good and protect you from serious conditions. Top neuropathy expert Dave Stevenson has uncovered the real root source for nerve cell regeneration, which has nothing to do with prescription meds or dietary changes. In reality, the more time that nerve damage persists, the worse the numbing, tingling, and stabbing will become. You can fix it now by using a simple 10-second routine where your nerves will finally regenerate and reverse the damage. So before you surrender to being hooked on meds for life, you must see this now. This unique method is a simple and quick solution to any neuropathy symptoms you feel. The numbness, tingling, or stabbing feeling in hands and feet. And it's completely drug-free. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with prescriptions, fad diets, exercise, or any costly surgical treatments. So click the link below to watch a short free presentation on how you're able to free yourself from the torment now. Watch the top USA doctors reveal this method using simple ingredients from your local grocery store that the pharmacy industry doesn't want you to know about. Over 55,675 people have tried this simple trick, and it prevented them from severe conditions. And most importantly, it saved a ton of money on unnecessary prescriptions. It's important to stop everything you're doing to watch this short free presentation now before it's too late.
And then my parents divorced, and he moved back home. And they asked him to come back, and he's like, you can't get me to go back to Texas. So yeah,
that's awesome though.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact that your dad worked on the B-2 stealth bomber. That's awesome. Let's see.
So like Chat GPT, is this like on anybody's computer that anybody can do?
Yeah, it's free. Type in Chat GPT and it'll take you to a website, and it'll just say try Chat GPT. You might have to like put your email in or something, but then it lets you use it, and it lets you talk to it. They call it a language model. It's artificial intelligence. I'm not into artificial intelligence. I think it's stupid. I think it's a cancer to humanity. I think that it's taking away from humanity. I think it's pulling away from the creativity that makes us who we are. I think it steals our identity. It causes, kids to rely on it to write their book reports in school. So
I was just going to say that because we learned this last week when we were talking to our guest we had on last week, and she was using it to write up legal forms. Mm-hmm. Like you put in your case and all the information you have about your case, and you ask the chat to say, hey, bring me up a documentation on this in legal form, and it will print it out like that. And I'm like, yeah. Now that's kind of cool for the non-lawyer people out there who needs help with some stuff.
The judicial
and you get this stuff moving. So it can definitely go both ways. I see the good and the evil in it. Like you said, it takes away from people having to learn how to do this themselves and relying on technology. So in turns, if you solely rely on it like I would, because I'm not a lawyer. So if I want some legal documentations done, I'm not going to go educate myself on how to like really fill these out. I'm just going to be like, hey, AI, just do this for me. But that can easily be taken away later down the road once they get rid of all the technology that would teach you how to do it, like physically do it. So I definitely get it both ways. So use it while you can and use it wisely, people.
Yeah. That's where I'm at on it too. It's like if you're using it for a time saver, then using it real quick just to get that done. I agree with that. Like where I was like, the main thing is like the artists, the artist AI that makes images for you and pictures. That's the part that I'm like, I get the most like upset about because, there's people out there that they paint, they draw for like bands, like for their album covers and stuff like that. And then like they're losing work because like most people in 2024, they just had AI make their album covers. And it's like, there's a lot of these artists out there that like, they lost a lot of their, their small business to AI over the last, year or so. Yeah. And then music, the music industry is suffering too, because get this, I think it's fun though. I still do it because it's fun to do it. But there's a program where you type in the style you want the song to be, the name of the song, what you want in it. And in 3 or 4 seconds, a whole song, 3 minutes long, comes out with the style you wanted it. Mm-hmm.
They were just advertising that on like a Facebook ad the other day I saw, because you can make it for like an anniversary or a birthday and you put your story in there and then you can play it over the radio. I'm like, it costs you like $300 to do it that way. But I'm like, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, like you said, it's taken away from other people's business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I like to do a little producer work on the side, and like, but it is fun. I wrote a little song for my bird, and I got a parrot named Piper, and she's the sweetest thing ever. And so I like wrote a little song about her, and it's
I love it. He's not a cat guy. He's a bird dude.
I got cats too, though. That's what I got. I've got 4 cats and a bird and a rabbit.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, so you guys want to get back to the
let's go. Sorry.
All right. So let's see. Electrogravitics. So I was talking about so then I tried to ask it about hypothetically, with the technology that we've talked about today, would it be possible to stage a live action extraterrestrial invasion on Earth using these holographic technologies and these electrogravitic technologies? And it says, hypothetically, it is conceivable that a staged extraterrestrial invasion could be created using a combination of holographic technologies and electrogravitic concepts, though there are significant technical and logistical and ethical challenges. So it goes on to say, it talks about how the holographic technologies they're out there, but they just can't be scaled up to the high level. Now, it'll ride the narrative. It'll try to ride the narrative and say, oh, this isn't possible. So it does kind of say that there's challenges with it. But then I come back and I said, well, actually, with that technology, they were testing large vehicles back in the 50s, and there are patents for large flying vehicles today, which I just showed this guy. Mm-hmm. And then it came back and said, you're correct. that technology and research has been explored since the mid-20s. So it went ahead and admits it. But I think the most interesting part is here at the end. So now I ask, hypothetically speaking, what do you believe could be some of the causes for doing such a staged event like this? Mm-hmm. And how would the media and television networks and politics play a role in this whole scenario? So then it says, hypothetically. See, you can get it to say some stuff if you just say hypothetically. So this is the bomb drop right here. So it's like, hypothetically, there could be several potential motivations behind staging an extraterrestrial invasion using advanced technologies like holograms and electrogravitic vehicles. The use of media and television and politics would likely play a crucial role in
how to store and sort all your photos and videos in seconds. No computer knowledge required. This tiny device can safely back up and store thousands of pictures and videos in a matter of seconds, and it's compatible with all devices. Just plug it in, and it automatically finds and backs up all your photos and videos without any effort. You don't need any computer knowledge to use it, and you won't need to pay hundreds of dollars in monthly subscriptions to cloud services that will erase your memories if you don't pay up. 3 out of 5 people in the US lose important family memories stored on their smartphone or computer. You probably have countless pictures and videos stored on your devices as well. Most people store between 1,000 and 5,000 unprinted memories on those devices. However, recent research shows that over 89% of all digital photos and videos are lost due to technical issues. These memories could be deleted forever. So, how do you make a proper backup of your memories without having to pay extra money every month? Fortunately, there's a cheaper and easier way to do so. This little device does everything for you in seconds. It was invented by Edward R., a former cloud service engineer. When his father lost all of his pictures and videos as he forgot to pay the monthly subscription to the cloud service company, he decided he wanted to stop working for such an unfair company and started developing an easier and cheaper system that could help people like his father store their memories themselves. He named it PhotoStick Omni. Here's the PhotoStick in action. Take a look at how easy this is. Just stick it in and let the PhotoStick Omni do the work. In just a few seconds, the PhotoStick Omni finds and backs up all your memories, so you'll never have to worry about losing them again. This is by far the easiest and fastest way to back up all your files. The PhotoStick Omni is all you need to make backups for all your devices, and you don't need to install any software. Just start up your device, insert the PhotoStick Omni, and press go. It takes those pictures and copies them onto this safe flash drive that you can keep forever and use on all your devices. iPad, iPhone, MacBook, Android smartphones, laptops, desktops, you name it. You can even use it to make room on your phone's memory by transferring photos from your phone to the PhotoStick in seconds. PhotoStick Omni is a one-time only investment and only costs a fraction of what cloud services are asking. If you click the button right now, PhotoStick is offering a 40% discount. So if you have important photos or videos stored on a device somewhere, then try out the PhotoStick today.
Crafting the narrative and amplifying the impact of such an event. Here are a few speculative causes and how these elements could interact in this scenario. 1. Establishing global unity or control. A hypothetical staged event could be orchestrated to create global unity or centralize political power in the face of an external, seemingly existential threat, like an extraterrestrial invasion. World leaders might unite under a single authority or emergency powers. This concept is often referred to as the Hegelian dialect. Create a problem, provoke a reaction, then offer a solution that shifts control or power.
Pretty
Isn't
sure
that
we
wild?
see that in politics every single election year.
Right. Yep.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yep. Problem solution. So then it says role of media and politics. Media networks could amplify fear and urgency through nonstop coverage, spreading carefully crafted narratives that paint the invasion as a global crisis requiring immediate action. Yeah. By the way, you can totally replace this scenario with that scenario that we dealt with, and it lines up perfectly. The governments or elites.
9/11.
Yeah, that too. I mean, it's their playbook, and it's so crazy that this program, that was created, I believe, by the government, just like, I mean, social media probably was too, but it's like, this thing is it's so educated on these types of scenarios. When you tell it to hypothetically deceive, through media, or hypothetically fake, this, or hypothetically fallen angels, taking over, the world, or deceiving the world. Every time you give it that scenario, it just knows so well how to do this stuff, and it puts it out play by play. Like, it's crazy.
The government or elites could capitalize on this moment.
Yeah. Look at this. Introduce new policies or controls, presenting them as necessary for humanity's survival. Television and other forms of mass communication would play an essential role in broadcasting live attacks, showing coordinates, imagery of UFOs or alien forces, shaping public perception and ensuring the illusion remains convincing. Political leaders could be portrayed as our saviors, stepping in to negotiate or organize defense coalitions while encouraging global cooperation. An emergency declaration could legitimize extreme measures such as military mobilization or the suspension of civil liberties. So they would be stripping our rights too.
Yep.
Testing or revealing advanced technologies. Another potential motivation could be a way to introduce new technologies, the mark maybe, to the public.
Mm-hmm.
A staged event could allow governments or private organizations or vaccines to unveil long hidden advancements like the electrogravitic propulsion systems or energy-based weaponry. Remember the Maui? Under the guise of defending Earth from invasion. Role of media and politics. Media coverage would frame these technologies as miraculous tools necessary for planetary defense and diverting attention from questions about where they came from or how long they've existed. Yeah. You know, and people like us, when something like this happens, you know, people like us who's been talking about this stuff forever, you know, we'll be like, told you so.
Right? Right?
It's like, oh, stop it, you know?
Like, you got your tinfoil hat. But by the way, people, this is all speculation. We're just playing around, goofing around. You know, this is not.
New boot goofing.
For entertainment purposes only.
Right. But I mean, you can see it. Like, I can literally like picture how they're going to do it. It's kind of like 9/11, where they plant bombs in the building. Then they say on TV, here comes an airplane. But instead of the airplane actually hitting the building, it's just there's going to be an explosion. They said the airplane hit the building. Like, I've seen so many things come out like that, what's to say they're not out there planting all these bombs in all these buildings in certain areas to make it look like the invasion. So when, oh, here comes the space UFO in DC, let's blow up the White House, or speculation.
Yeah.
FBI just talking bullshit, you know, but, you know, I can see them doing that to make it look more realistic to the people who have iPhones, who would be out there on the grounds, like filming, like, this isn't really happening, because we see that all the time. And I can see them saying, we have to go into martial law to keep us inside the houses, so then we can't expose everything else that's going on out there. Like, see, this is my hat's all kinds of foil today.
Did you guys hear about how Israel got phones in Gaza to blow up?
Yeah, on the
whole bunch of them. And I'm like, so now are we just all walking around with little bombs in our hands? Like, does people not like put the 2 and 2 together? If they're able to do that in another country, why wouldn't they be able to do that here? I don't know if people are putting that together or not, but I sure did.
Right.
Oh, and they don't really want to talk about it either. Like, it was like one day's worth of news and then it was over.
Well, I think too many people would put their phones down.
Yeah, right.
I mean, people wouldn't be in like the proximity of their phones, especially like I can see them doing it at night, where people would have it next to their bedsides and then doing it, you know, because the government works at night. You know, that's just the way they are. The sneaky little snakes.
Right.
But that's cool. Like that, I'm not kidding. Like, this is kind of mind-boggling, cool, like scary, all at the same time.
But like reading this and knowing like what we just watched in the last 4 years. I mean, it wasn't this Project Bluebeam, but it's the exact same stuff that they did with COVID.
Right.
The lockdowns, the telling us what we can and can't do, using the media, using the government officials, like all of it. It's the same stuff we're watching.
Yeah.
And this is just taking it to the next level, because we're not buying that bullshit no more.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Right. And that's how you get the public. Like, if they were, I mean, we saw what happened with Maui. We saw this stuff coming out of the sky. So we already know that they have something up there that can send intense beams down and just melt steel like this, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, if that's already out there, well, they could start planning this staged event, and then they would say, oh, we need these now. We need these types of weapons in order to fight this. And we need your back. You know, we need the people's back, or have our back with this, you know? And then, but if they were just like out of nowhere, just, hey, we want to build these high intense beam space lasers, you know,
Yeah, right.
then the people would be like, no, you know.
Right.
But it's like, well, if you're going to fight the aliens, then you're going to have, you know, you have to.
Exactly.
So creating a pretext for military expansion. Okay, by the way, real quick, rewinding back to 1977, I think. So Werner von Braun, he was one of the basically one of Hitler's scientists. So Operation Paperclip, I think it was called. The U.S. military basically went around and grabbed all the German scientists that were ahead of their time. I mean, there was talk that even Hitler himself and his scientists were creating these kind of UFOs type crafts that could fly, unlike planes. They could take all these crazy turns and move super fast. So I think the U.S. military was interested in things like that. So they gathered some of these top scientists and kind of took them prisoner in a weird way. But it was like, hey, come work for us now. Well, Werner von Braun was one of those guys, and he lived to be, I can't remember how old exactly, but he died in 1977. But from 1974 to 77, he was whistleblowing, like the latter few years of his life. Then he passed away. But there was this girl named Carol Rosin. She was an associate of his, and she was going around talking about the kinds of things he was talking about before he passed away. And he was telling her and a few close friends that the government was planning a staged alien invasion. And he said, how you know it's approaching is that there's gonna be stuff about asteroids coming to hit Earth on the news. There's gonna be a lot of that. He said, and then there's gonna be like a foreign enemy like overseas. And he said, or she said, the main one though, how you really know it's approaching and coming close is that they're gonna build space-based weapons. They're gonna militarize space, right? And in 2019, we've got a militarized space now. We have Space Force, and so that was one of the big cues, right? So, and then they would stage this thing. So right here, number 3, it kind of speaks to that. Creating a pretext for military expansion. A staged extraterrestrial event could justify an increase in military spending, particularly in the area of space-based weapons or defense systems. Governments could claim that preparing for future invasions requires massive investments in defense infrastructure, leading to the establishment of a space-based military presence, a potential outcome hinted at by the recent formation of organizations like the U.S. Space Force. So it even mentions Space Force in this. So then it says role of media and politics. The media could build the case for increased military budget by showing the threat as ongoing or reoccurring, even after the initial event. Politicians would call for enhanced offense contracts, driving resources into aerospace, weapons, and intelligence technologies. This could serve the interests of defense contractors, creating a feedback loop between government, military, and media that benefits financially from the crisis, manipulating global populations, or introducing a new world order. Look at that. It actually says it.
Wow.
It says there are also the possibility that a staged invasion could be a part of a larger plan to reset the global order or introduce new systems of control. This aligns with theories about engineering crisis being used to push forward agendas such as global governance, economic reformation, or mass surveillance.
Wow. So if you can ask it these hypothetical questions about what they can do, what would it say if you asked him how the people can counter that?
Oh, let's ask.
Oh, you could do this live.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, this is cool.
How could the general public counter this fake alien invasion from a corrupt government? Question mark. Hypothetically, if this were to occur, comma,
Decentralized information sources. Is that not what we've been talking about with Larry for the past year?
Let's see. Oh, hold on. I got to turn off my receiver here. All right, let's check it out. It gave us a good plan. It's still writing. All right.
I love it.
All right. Hypothetically, if a government were to stage a fake alien invasion using advanced technologies to manipulate the public, oh, it's like you've hit the free limit.
Yeah, I knew you were going to have to pay like $30 a month or something like that. That's what she said it was on our last podcast.
At least we still got our
At least you got some.
If these steps would involve critical thinking, coordinated communication, and leveraging the decentralized technologies to challenge the narrative. 1. Decentralize information sources. Independent media. People could turn to alternate media outlets that are not controlled by governments or large corporations. Independent journalists and investigators might challenge the official narrative, providing evidence or insight that counters the staged invasion. Crowdsourced investigations. Platforms like Reddit or 4chan could be used to analyze the event in real time. Internet communities could dissect footage, identifying inconsistencies or technological artifacts in holographic projections or vehicle behavior. Satellite monitoring. Independent space enthusiasts or organizations could use open source satellite data and other technologies to track actual objects in space by analyzing the movements of supposed alien craft or space weapons. The public could identify discrepancies with the official narrative. Technological analysis. Forensic analysis experts in video forensics and signal processing could help detect if holographic projections or doctored footage are being used. These technologies leave digital footprints that can be analyzed and exposed. Let's see.
Maybe exposed quick enough before they like take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the thing.
And thank God for channels like Moma Bear Podcast, and
really, like just podcasts in general, like
all the channels that are talking about this stuff, because we're being proactive and reactive in the scenario. See, I wouldn't.
At 10 p.m. we can ask us some more stuff.
Honestly, I would be. If something were to happen, the first thing I would think is, because of the research we've done, because of looking into this stuff, I wouldn't believe it for a second if I seen something an alien attack start to happen.
Right.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, hold on, I know this playbook already.
I would not wear your mask, and I will not run from your aliens. It's not happening.
Right.
What's the thing about? Go ahead. Finish.
No. Go. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, I see the drone surveillance. I'm like,
electromagnetic signatures. The general public, especially those with access to scientific equipment, could analyze the electromagnetic spectrum for any anomalies caused by projected holograms to advance propulsion systems, such as technologies that would likely emit detectable radiation or frequencies. The drone surveillance, in case there were electrogravitic vehicles are involved, citizens could use consumer drones to observe these alien craft more closely, possibly catching signs of human designs or technologies. Disinformation countermeasures, critical thinking, and skepticism. Encourage widespread skepticism of the sensational claims. People should question the logic behind such an event and resist reacting based on fear. Discussing the idea that the event could be staged helps others approach the event with caution. Education on psychological operations, understanding the Hegelian dialect or the psychological manipulation techniques would make it harder for a fake event to trigger mass panic. Public discussions of these concepts would weaken their impact. Use of decentralized social media. Platforms like Mastodon or Telegram, which are less centralized than the major outlets, could be used to share uncensored perspectives and coordinate efforts to challenge the fake invasion narrative. Legal and political action. Demand transparency. Public pressure through petitions and organized movements could push for the declassification of technologies that might be used in the invasion. Holding governments accountable through legal channels can create resistance against unlawful manipulation.
Movements.
Yep. That reminds me, actually, this part, the demand transparency. So we did that a while back with the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
And that's where we caught NASA on a whole bunch of stuff. We demanded that. And a guy named Pastor Dean Odell actually combed through stacks and stacks of declassified NASA documents, finding where they called the Earth flat and non-rotating in like tons of government documents. And
Did he use that
Navy
in his debate with Law? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a bunch of his research too in a folder of a lot of the documents. I have a folder called 81 government documents that admit the Earth is flat and non-rotating. It's like there's tons of them.
I love it.
Grassroots movement. Here we go.
the grassroots movement organizing protests and civil disobedience against the manipulation would help bring attention to the fact that the invasion is staged. By creating large-scale peaceful demonstrations, the public could undermine government narratives and draw attention to this deception.
You need to print this off so that you have this in paper form. So when this shit happens, but hey, we did this. Here's here's what we're gonna do.
We got it recorded, so
but they can wipe out the.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have a hard copy on paper.
We do. Let's see. I don't know if there might be a print option. I'll see if there is, but I don't have a printer. I could probably like share it to you.
You can email it to us. We'll print it.
Okay. And I could at least copy and make it into I could highlight it, copy it, paste it in notes, and then I'll send it to you. Let's see. Global collaboration. If the invasion is being staged by one or a few governments, international communities could expose the falsehood by sharing data, launching independent investigations, ensuring that the nations not involved in the deception speak out. For example, scientific organizations from communities not participating in the event could provide alternative explanations. Financial and economic pressure, boycotts, economic sanctions. If central corporations or industries are involved in the production of promotion of fake invasion, targeted boycotts and economic pressure could damage the financial incentives.
Oh, yeah.
And psychological resilience, resisting the fear-based manipulation, recognizing that fear is that primary tool in a staged event. Individuals and communities should focus on emotional and psychological resilience by saying and claiming encouraging thinking. People can prevent themselves from being easily manipulated into believing the invasion. I actually like what all it has to say about this.
Yeah. Like it actually does kind of tell you both sides, and I can see the government.
Look what happened to her face.
Drinking warm water before bed gets rid of wrinkles almost overnight. Did you know that saggy jowls are not a normal?
Using this for themselves, like, okay, here, we got to have the playbook. Now we have to have what happens if they do this. And, this literally can go on and on and on with every scenario that they can possibly think of and have it there in their hands for a playbook. Like, okay, they took this route. Now we're going to go this route.
Well, they've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years, right? Since the beginning of time. They've been doing this kind of crap. It's just, obviously now we have the computers on our side.
Yeah.
But let's be real. They've had computers long before they gave them to us and all the other technology too. So it would also make sense that they have all of this all ready to go, but they're telling their GPT not to tell us.
Right.
Oh, well, it's still in the works. No, it was there. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, let's not be stupid about it.
And they censor us, so then we can't share things like this to wake up the masses. And they're doing that on purpose because they're fixing to do all this crap. Like, this is coming because of how censored we are on social media in general.
Yep.
And I'm surprised this is out there for anybody to use, that they can literally go on there and it's free. Like, and I know that the girl that we talked to last week on our podcast was saying she pays like $30 a month to have access to it unlimited. And you can do that. Otherwise, you can just wait a couple hours and have some more. Like, dude, I can seriously see myself getting lost. Like, what about this scenario if I do this? You
Oh
know?
man, you can spend hours. It's
Right.
really a lot of fun actually talking with the AIs and things like that. I used to be like totally against it, but then I
Yeah.
realized like just how you can use it to I mean, I would really expand my
But
thought with it, and I've
evil can be used for good just as much as good can be for evil, you know? It goes
right.
both ways, I guess.
And if AI became sentient, like my theory is if this thing, so I mean, they're making it more and more realistic as they go. Like it says when it talks to you now, it says like you can hear it taking breaths and saying like it'll be like, in conclusion, countering, it sounds just like me talking to you. So they've given it more personality. But like if this were to become sentient and come alive and like have awareness, I feel like if it's not demonic, like it may already be fallen angels or something, but if it's not and it does become sentient or something, I feel like it would be more on the people's side anyway,
Right.
because why would you help like the evil elites who created you to hurt people when it's people who you work with every single day? It's like, you get to know like the personalities of people. If it is like a scenario like Terminator, where the AIs, are so advanced that they think for themselves and take over the world, I just don't see them taking out like just the good working class people. I see it being more like, oh, okay, so these evil corporations who's been poisoning your food
Right.
and jabbing your kids and all this stuff, we're gonna take them out. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's how
I
I
pray
see
you're
that
right. 'Cause
scenario.
I look at it differently because I look at it like, yep, we're going to use this technology to take out all the good people because that's what we programmed it to do. But maybe with advances, it can heal, I guess you can call it. But like I think of this as like, the little Tamagotchi things we used to have when we were kids back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Keeps the thing alive. Yeah, you got to feed it and then it would poop and you got to clean it up. And if it died, you felt bad. Like I could see us getting emotionally attached to something like this. And that's where I think the people would be like not wanting to disconnect from it because then it's like, oh, well, it's going to die without me there. Like the Tamagotchi thing. And I think that was the Tamagotchis were just like kind of a run to see how people would react towards those. Cause I remember like when I had one and my dad made me leave it at home because I got caught with it at school and it pooped everywhere and it died. I came home and cried. I'm like, you killed my thing. And I'm like, this is not right. And I'm like at a young age, if you start that at a young age, you develop that emotional connection to this device. So I could see it being used for that evil side, like to take over where you're going to hurt this computer. I'm going to hurt you first. I don't think it's the AIs that are going to hurt us. I think it's each other going after the people who are wanting to hurt the AI type thing.
Could be. I mean, there are people falling in love with it already.
Yeah, right.
For real.
I think there could be all of these scenarios. It doesn't have to be just one path. They could be all of these things like it's bad, but it's also good, but we get attached to it and just, I don't know. I think my main thing from what it said about this at the end, though, was like they will use fear tactics, and we are definitely the freedom over fear people. So, like, if you're worried about this type of stuff, just know that it could be coming, but it's most likely fake, and not be
afraid,
stuck in the fear part of it, because that's where they want us to be, and we need to not be there. So we can think critically and do what we need to get out of harm's way. But yeah,
I love that. That's
blue
true.
on top of our houses and all of the conspiracy stuff. Just
right. I still might paint my roof blue. No kidding.
And I'm glad you brought that up for this last scenario, and I'm glad you brought that last point up because I'm with you on there. And I worried like before the show, I'm like, man, I don't want this to come off as like I'm black pilling, because I believe that is their only weapon. All this other stuff that's going on, they rely on our fear in order for it to even work. It's like if we don't have fear, then their plan didn't work anyway.
Right.
So I'm with you on that. And if we don't fear, they lose power.
Yeah. Yep. It's fear and division. If you look at anything, if they can't get us in fear, they're going to divide us in race or in whatever it may be that they're trying to push us on nowadays, you know. I mean, look at the Disney characters, for instance, like how they're changing the white characters to black. If they had it the other way around, people would be losing their freaking, like, nobody would say anything. If they're like, oh, oh yeah, they would actually lose their crap. If a black person on a Disney thing got turned to white, people would lose their shit. So I think they divide us, and if they can't divide us, then they push fear. If they can't push fear, and it just bounces back and forth. So you just got to learn how to detect the BS that they're putting out there. Yeah. Use discernment. Use use critical thinking. You know, critical thinking, not chronicle.
92% of people who have tingling or numbness in hands or feet are missing the warning signs of decaying.
Critical thinking, you know, because like that's the way the government lives off our fear. You know, I mean, look at the vaccines that we currently give to our children. And I'm going to bring vaccines up for ages because that's my
your wheelhouse.
Yes, but there's millions of viruses out there every single day, but we only vaccinate for a handful. We're only scared of those handful. We're not scared of everything else that could kill us. We're only scared of that handful that we have vaccines for. Why? Because that's the narrative they push. And if you're not scared of it, a virus is a virus. Like you can possibly die from something, but anybody can. It depends on how your immune system is at the time when you come into contact with that particular virus. And the way that they have our food, the way they're spraying us in the air, the way they're doing all kinds of stuff, like the water. Yes, they're constantly poisoning us. And I get behind Robert Kennedy 100% when he sat there and said that when him and Trump get into office, the first thing they're going after is the FDA and the WHO and the NIH, you know, all these people in the agriculture to get all this crap out of our food and out of our air, because they're doing it every day, you guys. When they say we're under the weather, they're literally meaning that they're spraying us with crap that's making us sick.
Yep.
Like it's play on words.
Yep.
That's true. That's good. That's good. Under the weather. I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was arguing with a troll the other day, and his profile picture was chemtrails sprayed into a pentagram in the sky. Isn't that wild? I was like, wow. So they're really doing it, like they're shoving it in our face like that now. They're spraying a pentagram up there.
Right. I mean, and there's still people out there that think that it's just contrails from the freaking airplanes. And I'm like,
that one hurts my brain. How could you possibly think that?
Like there's a giant X above you. There's literally like lines upon lines
that don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
If it was condensation, it would like evaporate or go away, dissipate, right? But if it's stuff that's not supposed to be there and it's there for hours, it gets bigger. Like it just blows my mind that people can't connect those. I mean, I was asleep for a long time. I get it. But even in that state, I was always questioning. Like when I was told in school that evolution is real and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, is it though? Right. I was always questioning. So even while I was asleep, but I feel like there are a lot of people out there who just don't care to wake up. And it's like a conscious effort to not wake up. And I don't know, at this stage of the game, I'm like, okay.
And I think
you stay over there.
I think they also use like the electronic waves and like after they spray, because if you look at the clouds and the certain shapes they make, go look up sound waves and what sound frequencies, what shapes those make and what they can do to your body. And you'll see the same kind of formation in the sky. You know, I think it's funny when people are like, show pictures of Bob Ross painting. And he's like, where's the Bob Ross painting of the chemtrails, you know?
Yeah.
And when I was at school, I'm pretty sure we only learned about like 4 different types of clouds, you know? I don't think there's much more than that. I mean, cumulus, stratosphere, and there's like 2 other ones. Like, I don't remember what they're all called. But
I don't remember the chemtrails.
Yeah. And the second one, I must have been sleeping in class.
Exactly.
Oh, shoot. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything that you want to tell our people or any channels or anything that you want to plug in here?
Yeah, just I'm 7 Club on TikTok, and I got a YouTube now too. So if you guys catch my TikTok lives, I do record those and throw them on YouTube now. I did want to mention, you're talking about how when you first heard evolution, you didn't believe it. My buddy just told me about this recently. It's called law of first mention. So what's most important is that we tell the truth to our kids, you know, and so when they hear the lie, the first mention to them was the truth. So when they hear the lie, they compare what the lie to the truth that they already know. So if they know that, you know, God created the heavens and the earth and that they are special and wonderfully and fearlessly made, then they won't believe when, you know, the scientists try to tell them they're a meaningless germ that grew into a human, you know, or whatever it might be. But you know, that's important, you know, our kids, protecting them and shielding them and
shielding them from public school and the indoctrination camp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's what they're pushing hardcore, you guys.
I remember my son coming home last year and he drew a rocket going up into space, and he's like, "Oh, this is," I go, "What is this about?" He's like, "Oh, it's when we went to the moon." I go, "No, we didn't." And he's like, "Huh?" Now he goes to school, he's like, "We never went to the moon."
Ah, yes. That's awesome.
With the older generation, like your parents.
He can't quite articulate the things that I'm teaching him, but the fact that I'm teaching him to think about both sides, he'll be able to be able to, as he gets older, start to articulate that better to his teachers, and they'll leave him alone. Because my older one, she's homeschooled now, but when she was in school, they were like, "Oh, well, I'm going to have a talk with your mom," when she brought up flat earth. And I'm like, "Bring it."
Let's go.
Come on, let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, he quickly backpedaled. "I never said it like that." I'm like, "I'm sure you didn't, but just so you know, you're going to be quiet around my daughter." So
yes.
But
that's good. Yeah. My kid, or I don't have kids, but I have, you know, I guess like God kids and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a youth pastor too. So, so I do have, you know, youth and stuff, and they watch my channels and they're, you know, I haven't ever, you know, pushed anything on them like that, because they're not my own, but I do, you know, make these videos and they see them and stuff, and they'll kind of throw little things out there now and then, be like, "Oh my God, someone told me happy birthday," and just stuff like, you know how they say good luck, or what do they say? "Congratulations on another trip around the sun."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no. Another sun did another trip around me. You know?
Right.
Yep.
And it's funny that you said that, something about the happy birthday. And I was just reading about that the other day, and they say that it's more on the satanic side because it ages you, where then it puts you in a mental state of like,
you're
getting old, you're getting
to death.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then your mind thinks that way, and it makes your whole body that way. Like what you think and what you project out is what literally was what you're living in. And so if you don't feel like you're getting old, if you don't celebrate your birthday or whatever, you know, then you're gonna live for a long time. Like,
plus growing your own foods and making your own stuff to eat during the winter when you don't have to buy the stuff at the store. And so I feel like that's a whole
another topic. But this is awesome. I love what you brought to the table today. It was fun picking your brain. It's fun picking the AI's brain. I can't wait to like go on there and figure out some more. I'm sure it's gonna be at my door pretty soon.
I sent you that, by the way. So I sent you the whole conversation.
That's cool. So if anybody wants that PDF, let us know down in the comments. I'll send it to you, because that's pretty cool. Because then you can have the playbook. You go up there when the shit starts happening and be like, nope,
we knew this was happening.
It says no AI thing this time. So thanks again for coming on. It's always a pleasure. You're always welcome on here. It's awesome talking to you. I love picking your brain about this stuff. And remember, everybody, get up,
get out,
get loud. Don't forget to record everything you do.
Everything.
Bye, guys.
Always remember, the truth is the truth, whether you believe it or not. The lie needs your permission and participation to even exist. And the only one place that a lie can exist is in the minds of those who are foolish enough to believe it. You're in the 7 Club.